Mike Hagen, and welcome to another edition of Mike Hagen and the Strength Team podcast. We haven't done a podcast in a while. It used to be every week, then it was 2 weeks, now it's every month. And so this is the first quarter podcast that we've done since Haiti. Last podcast we did, the guys were in Haiti. But a lot of things have happened since then. Came back from Haiti, of course, we had a great mission trip to start this year off. And then all over the country, crisscrossing from California to Florida, all over the place. But something happened that you might have seen in the Facebook that I want to share today. I had a very serious thing that happened to me. We were in St. Louis, Missouri, Warrenton, Missouri, and we were doing school assemblies, and I had what they call an arrhythmia. So you might have heard earlier in our stories that I think it was 8 years ago that I had a heart attack. And anyway, make a long story short, I had an arrhythmia that my heart rate was at 165 for about 3 hours. They took me to the hospital, and for about 2 weeks I was in and out of the hospital. And I'm just going to make a long story short, but I'm just thankful to be here today, because it was a life-threatening situation that I went through in my life that they ended up putting a defibrillator and a pacer in that, it's got everything under control. But I'm just thankful to the Lord. I know that the doctors did a great job of doing what they were supposed to do, but let me tell you something, God was the one who's orchestrating and putting everything together. And there's, throughout the whole month when I was going through this ordeal in the month of February, I didn't really have a fear in my life, because I knew that God was in control. He's in control of my life. In fact, that's kind of what I want to talk about, just as a short version of a message. If you could, I say, I've learned anything in this last month, is that I want to make sure that I keep the condition of my heart right, and that Jesus is the premier attraction. He's the focus and the center of my life, and all these other things on the outside, even with my health, that I just got to keep my focus on the Lord. Because with the Bible says that the heart, this muscle, the heart, it's one muscle that beats. Some people's heart beats a long time, and I'm praying and I'm believing God for my heart to beat a long time. But the second that our heart stops beating, the Bible says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, then we'll stand before God one day. And guess what? There's a real place called heaven, and there's a real place called hell. There's a real God, and there's a real devil. And so when Jesus, that's the message that we talk about every night. The story of true life is that God came down to this earth in the form of His Son, Jesus Christ, that He died on a cross, that He rose from the dead, and He made salvation available to us. Age of 21 years old, I opened up the door of my heart, and I received the Lord in my life. Man, I don't know where I'd be without Christ being in the center of my life. With all the different things that have happened in my health in the last 10 years, has been amazing. I know that God's been there. He's been there. He's healed me. He's brought me through. He's made me strong. He's been the strength of my life. And even when times were tough, it's like Paul, when he prayed 3 times for that thorn to be removed from his flesh, the Lord said, "My grace is sufficient." And I feel like that's what it's been like. And so obviously there's a lot of people who are praying for me that are friends and family. You're praying around the country. Different churches have prayed for me. And one of the things my good friends, because I know that I'm very, the leader of the strength team, and I want to go, get out there, go on the road. But a lot of people are saying, "Mike, you just need to take your time and slow down," and everything that's happened this month. And here's the thing about it that's so cool, is the strength team is made up of 14 other guys. Of course, team or Extreme Impact has absorbed, that's Jeremy Baker's team, is now the strength team. And it couldn't have come at a better time, because Jeremy is somebody that I trained up. He was kind of a son in the faith, and then that's a long story in itself, but his ministry, he's actually, and some of his guys are working now with the strength team. We're all one, we're all together. And then of course other people like Andy Gavin and William Green, and just some of the guys, Zeb Bishops, and I'm missing some guys. But Craig Limley, the new members that are coming on. God's bringing people to the team that little did I know that I'd be sitting back a little bit, and that's kind of what I am doing crusades. But it is a season, I really believe, in my life, just to sit back and be the leader of the strength team, be the coach rather than the player. And so for 26 years, I've been doing this ministry. I'm more excited about being the leader of the strength team and working with the members of the team, working with these guys that are in their 20s and their 30s, and these young guys, and just pouring into them. And so, man, I tell you what, that's where the ministry's at. And I just want to say to you as a closing word is let God be the strength of your life. So trust Him, make Him the Lord of your life. So stay tuned. We've got another podcast. We're going to keep the podcast coming next week. We're going to be in Jacksonville, and we're going to be at the convention center. And so it's going to be awesome, and I know you're going to like it. So we'll see you next week on another edition of Mike Hagen and the Strength Team Podcast.